Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the weekly report. Pelosi's Taiwan trip exposes foolishness of interventionism. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's surprise trip to Taiwan last week should be Exhibit A as to why interventionism is dangerous, deadly, and dumb. Though she claimed her visit won some sort of victory for democracy over autocracy, the stopover achieved nothing of the sort. It was a pointless gesture that brought us closer to military conflict with zero benefits. As Colonel Doug McGregor said on Pelosi's trip on a recent episode of Tucker Carlson Tonight, statesmanship involves advancing American interests at the least cost to the American people. None of that is in play here. Posturing is not statesmanship. Pelosi's trip was no outlier. Such counterproductive posturing is much celebrated by both parties in Washington. Neoconservative senators Bob Menendez and Lindsey Graham were thrilled with Pelosi's stop in Taipei and used it as a springboard to push for new legislation that would essentially declare war on China by declaring Taiwan a major non-NATO ally. The one China policy that, while perhaps not perfect, has kept the peace for more than 40 years, is to be scrapped and replaced with one sure to provoke a war. Who benefits? Foolishly taking the U.S. to the brink of war with Russia over Ukraine is evidently not enough for Washington's bipartisan warmongering class. Risking a nuclear war on two fronts with both Russia and China is apparently the only way for Washington to show the rest of the world it's serious. The Washington Post's neoconservative columnist Josh Rogan accurately captures the mindset in Washington, D.C. with a recent article titled, "The Skeptics Are Wrong. The U.S. Can Confront Both China and Russia." For Washington's foreign policy experts, those of us who don't believe a war with both Russia and China is a great idea are written off as skeptics. Count me as one of the skeptics. During the Cold War, there were times of heightened tension, but even in the darkest days, the idea that nuclear war with China and the Soviet Union could be a solution was held only by a few madmen. Now, with the ideological struggle of the Cold War a decades-old memory, such an argument makes even less sense. Yet this is what Washington is selling. The U.S. fighting a proxy war with Russia through Ukraine and Nancy Pelosi provoking China neatly to the point of war over Taiwan is meant to show the world how tough we are. In reality, it demonstrates the opposite. A drunken man in a bar challenging everyone to a fight is not tough. He's foolish. He has nothing to gain and everything to lose from his display of bravado. That is interventionism at its core, a foolish policy that provokes nothing but anger overseas, benefits no one in the U.S. except the special interests, and leaves the rest of us much poorer and worse off. There may be plenty to criticize about China's government and policies. They are far from perfect, particularly in protection of civil liberties. But have we already forgotten that our own government shut down the country for 2 years over a virus and then forced a huge number of Americans to take an experimental shot that is proving to be as worthless as it is dangerous? Let's look at the log in our own eye before we start lobbing missiles overseas.